And we welcome you into our Tuesday edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We are at Quaker Steak and Lube, the place to be. If you are a sports fan or a fan of food, a fan of beverages, a fan of good times, Quaker Steak and Lube, great place to come on down and watch your favorite sporting events on any of the numerous TVs located throughout the restaurant. Of course, great service here, great food. The all-you-can-eat wing buffet will get underway here at 4 o'clock, which today will be when we are going off the air. We have live coverage coming up at 4 o'clock, thus our early start for the program here this afternoon. We will have Bald Eagle area softball in the District 6 quarterfinals coming up today against Northern Cambria. The winner will face Penns Valley on Thursday in the semifinals. Also on Thursday, we will have live coverage of the District 6 6A championship game in softball between State College and Mifflin County from Mount Aloysius College. And tomorrow, if the weather holds up, we are planning to bring you Bald Eagle area baseball as the Eagles will take on Mount Union in District 6 action as well. So lots of high school baseball and softball rolling your way this week here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox. Penn State baseball team opens up Big Ten tournament play tonight against Illinois, and the Nittany Lions have their work cut out for them. They come in as the 8 seed, Illinois the 1 seed. Illinois did sweep the 3-game series from the Nittany Lions during the regular season, but they have a chance now that they're in the postseason. So you're saying there's a chance.
One game,
there
right?
is. Yep.
Yep.
So that
against the wall, had it up against the wall all weekend, and they swept the Terrapins.
They did indeed. Very impressive. 3-game sweep of Maryland last Thursday and Friday, getting the Nittany Lions into the tournament as the 8 seed. Again, that'll be a 7 o'clock start tonight for Penn State and Illinois. That game will be televised by the Big Ten Network. So
you grew up playing baseball as well as I did. We didn't continue. Did you play in high school?
I did not. I played up through middle
15
school
or 16. But it's just baseball's one of those things. You get in that mood, and everybody starts believing, and everybody starts hitting and making plays and stuff like that. So it is a very streaky sport, and you go in hot like they are right now. You never know what can happen tonight. It's one game. You know,
absolutely.
Illinois
true.
bats might be off, Penn State might be on, and bang, bang.
Yep.
Ready to go.
No, and Penn State was in each of the 3 games. If I'm not mistaken, I should have printed that. I think Penn State actually had the lead or was even going into the 5th inning, I think, in each of those 3 games.
Jeez.
So, yeah, I mean, it's not preposterous that Penn State could win tonight. Penn State, depending on
they are the number 1 team.
Depending on tonight's result, Penn State will play at either 11 a.m. or 7 p.m. Against either, oh my gosh, help me out, Goon, Iowa or Michigan, I believe. So action will continue again on Thursday.
Do they have
either
buys?
way. No.
No, okay, so they got to play. Michigan and Iowa still got to play to win, though, right? Today?
Yeah, the winners will meet. The winners of those 2 games will meet Thursday night. The losers will meet Thursday morning.
I got a question for you. Like basketball, all teams are included.
Yep.
You got a play in type of thing. For baseball, the tournament's cut off at, 10?
Yeah, a few of the sports, 8. A few of the sports are like that. Yeah, it becomes a numbers game. I will be curious to see when with the additional teams, how that changes or doesn't change some of the scenarios here. A couple of other things. Earlier today, the Penn State Board of Trustees, as everybody knew they would, did pass the $700 million. Again, nobody disputes the Beaver Stadium needs work, but the money is not there, and by their own admission, it's not there. They are relying on some pretty lofty hopes and goals for fundraising and costs not going up nearly as dramatically as they have consistently over the last decade. This just feels like it was not well thought out from the outside looking in. I know a couple of the trustees, Anthony Lebrano and Barry Fenchak, have run the numbers, and they insist that the numbers just don't add up. The $700 million price tag just seems exorbitant given the scope of the work that I think is needed. Not exactly clear what all is included with that $700 million price tag. And again, this is at a time where there's great uncertainty within intercollegiate athletics about what the future looks like. There's great uncertainty with both costs and how those may go up, the impact this may have on non-revenue sports, et cetera, et cetera. And it just, the timing just, I don't know, at the very least makes me a little uncomfortable. And I'm a little surprised at just how quickly this went through, how little discussion there was about it. And again, hopefully, obviously, it all works out. The danger is if it doesn't work out, again, down the road, this becomes a really, really tough burden that future administrators, future board of trustees members, and future potentially students and taxpayers are going to, again, potentially pay a very heavy price for.
Now, I'm not going to sit there and say I'm Goonstradamus over here, but did we not say 3 or 4 years ago when the NIL came out saying we are at a significant disadvantage here because our university is now going to compete with our athletes for funding? I mean, we're complaining about money and we don't have money coming in because you're soliciting money for the players right now when you used to that money used to be solicited for the university and for the athletic department, correct? Am I off thinking here, Jeffrey? I mean,
I think that is part of it.
There's a lot of parts to it. There's definitely a lot of layers of that onion.
And again, I don't think there's anybody who's paying attention who says, "No, Beaver Stadium's good, just leave it be." Like I don't think
for the last 15 years. That's the problem.
I don't think that's the argument. But this just seems like a very high price tag in a very uncertain time. And it just seems, again, I think there are some real needs for sure. My preference would have been that let's figure out what the real needs are, address those, see where we're at in a couple of years, a few years with the fundraising efforts, with the overall picture, and start to then go through the wants. But it is what it is. The board overwhelmingly approved it, and we'll see. Again, maybe hopefully everything pans out great, and the donations, which have fallen fairly dramatically since 2011, pick up to the degree that they seem to think they will. Hopefully they sell out the luxury suites to the degree that they seem confident that they will. Again, hopefully all of it goes well, because it is important, not just, we talk about this often, but even if you're not a football fan, you need to be rooting, if you live in this area, for the football program because of the impact that it does have on the local economy, the local businesses, the feel of the area, and quite frankly, the university at large. That it is important in all of those regards. That's why the threat of the death penalty was such a ominous event in the wake of the Sandusky scandal, we'll call it,
Free
a
agency.
misnomer if ever there was one,
The free agency.
in 2011, or 2012. So, listen, I think we'll have to see how it plays out. I know there's obviously new revenue streams that they are opening up and looking at opening up, continuing down the road. But this is a huge debt. Again, it is Penn State, the debt ratio that Penn State is now incurring as a result of this is by far, like not even close, the greatest debt ratio that any athletic department has ever taken on in the history of intercollegiate athletics. And again, it's
That
not
doesn't scare you at all,
close.
does it?
Well, again, I mean,
It's
you know,
petrifying.
they're to listen to the folks that were advocating for this tell it today. There's nothing to worry about. They've got it covered. They're very confident. And again, I'm hoping against hope that they're right. At the moment, from everything I've seen, the numbers that I've looked at, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you I for sure have all of the numbers in front of me, but they're not adding up. What Barry Fenchak and Anthony Lebrano have shared, and you can go to Fenchak's website, it does not add up. And somewhere down the road, they've got to make this money up one way or another. And again, we'll see. I'm certainly hopeful, but this is in the wake of, the university also in some real financial trouble.
Yeah.
And you're seeing what's happening with the Commonwealth campuses. And again, it's just a very uncertain time to be taking on that type of debt.
You think we could have done a piecemeal?
Looking
Are you getting at that we could have done this at not at the discount, but not all at once, and just done it like let's do.
I think at least looking at that and talking that through a little bit would have been my preference. I also.
But didn't they do that? I mean, I'm not being a jerk, but haven't they done that they've been talking about this for 2+ years, right?
Boy, if they have, I've missed it, Goon. I have not seen the public discussion. I have not seen.
Well, they approved the $70 million upgrade already. That was part of the $700 million. So they knew that number was coming, right? Or no?
The $70 million?
No, they knew that. Then that was the beginning of a $700 million renovation. Because wasn't the question do you want new or do you want it to renovate? And that was $1.5 billion versus $700 million is what I recall. But
well, what they said publicly was that no, this $700 million is not something that is a done deal. We need to talk that through, and that this is just something that did get leaked out. And again, several folks that were involved with the board and the administration insisted that number was not necessarily accurate, and that they would, there would be discussion. And from where I'm sitting, I missed the public discussion on this if it was there. And you maybe you have more insight to it.
I felt like they've been talking about this for a year or two with that number of 700, because that didn't pop up this past weekend. They said, we're going to vote on this now because they've already agreed to the $70 million renovation. Did they do $50 million to Lash and $70 million to the stadium, or was that 70 Lash and the stadium so far? I don't know. It's again, it all runs together when it gets to this point. But that seems like a really, 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 really big number. And they're talking about bringing bonds in to pay for this, right? And then they're soliciting our alumni and our fan base for NIL money, making pleas and this and that. And then yet we're still begging for money for the stadium. I mean, I just.
Well, and there's a bunch of other things that obviously
there was
need.
No renovation, no upkeep.
The McCoy Auditorium, they're finishing up well, not finished up, but they're working on improvements to Jeffrey Field.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I thought
McCoy
that
needs,
got pushed that back.
McCoy needs. McCoy has been leaking. Like the pool actually leaks, so they need the McCoy renovations. They need the Jeffrey Field locker rooms. Like all of those things are also expenditures. Again, we'll see how it all plays out. At this point, it feels like everybody's just kind of crossing their fingers and hoping for the very best. And I count me in. I'm certainly hoping for that as well. I'm not sure that this is the right time to go this far. When you look at Nebraska, Nebraska had now they were going to do a very similar project for about half of the price tag, if I'm not mistaken. I have to look up the exact numbers, but similar project. They seem to be able to find some better deals, but even with that, they put the brakes on it because again, they're wanting to kind of make sure, hey, let's double check that all of our numbers here can add up. Maybe we need to do some of this initially and then hold off and see if we can do the rest of it at a later date. So we'll see. Again, I think there's some other needs too. I still think Rec Hall needs some significant upgrades and improvements. I think that there are some other facilities that would certainly benefit from upgrades. But again, we don't know. Nobody knows right now what the future of intercollegiate athletics truly looks like.
There may not be an intercollegiate athletics department in a year, 2 years.
In which case, again, having to pay this off is going to be a tremendous burden for somebody somewhere down the road, or a bunch of somebody somewhere down the road. So, again, we'll follow.
I mean, I don't mind talking. I mean, I know we're not going. I don't want to delve too deep into it because it does get a little crazy and scary. But like, what TV deal? How much more money are we pulling in? Type of thing. How much of that money is going from athletics into this or that, or are we funding this completely outside of athletic and institutional money?
Well, again, the question at the moment, one of the many questions at the moment is, what are the salaries and benefits going to look like for staff, for coaches, for student athletes, and how is that money? It still is not clear. Where I think it's clear that there will be revenue sharing. I don't think it's clear, at least to my knowledge, just yet as to how that is going to play out and where all the revenue pool or stream will be coming from for the student athletes. And again, you got to get a handle on, I think it would be wise to get a handle on those numbers and what's involved there. You're also talking about a situation now where food is being provided, to some degree, some clothing is being provided. Now that's all currently being provided, but those numbers don't figure to go less than what they are now. How much substantially more could that stuff cost going down the road? And with all of the different potential revenue streams, there's also a bunch of new potential and some for sure expenditures coming the way of intercollegiate athletics in general and Penn State specifically. So we'll just, again, wait and see how it all plays out. They seem confident. They're at least projecting confidence that, nope, this is not a problem. They have it covered. They have the numbers working. I'm just looking at what Barry Fenchak put out over the weekend or on Monday.
Yep.
And it feels like this is going to be an anxious 5 years or so. Now, it's going to be an anxious 5 years for anybody at any school involved with intercollegiate athletics, and for that matter, just involved with college education. There's, again, a lot of uncertainty, not just around the athletic programs. I mean, that's obviously the focus of our show, but around college education and what the future is going to look like there in this country. And again, I don't know anybody who is suggesting that you not do anything, that Beaver Stadium is perfectly fine the way it is. It's just, there's somewhere, I think, a happy medium between, we're not doing anything, just let the stadium be, and we're going to spend $700 million that we don't have to make all of these significant upgrades. Again, from the outside looking in, that feels like maybe there was a better happy medium.
No, talk to me now, because I'll play the other role right now and say, well, if we're going to renovate this stadium, don't you think there's going to be more country concerts? We're talking about the hockey game, possibly a preseason NFL game type of thing. Does this renovations, does it open up for all that? Because I think that's what needs, we need to take that next step and start using Beaver Stadium for more than 10 times a year. But that's just, I'm asking.
Yeah.
What is your...
Well, I mean, I don't know is the short answer. Okay. We just had a concert with the stadium as it exists. They got 80,000 in there. We just had the Brewers Fest. The NFL talk and the hockey talk has been going on for a while. With the
renovations for the hockey talk, though. The hockey had to have renovations.
Well, that was correct? The winterization.
I thought there was other stuff involved too, though. Yeah, but the winterization, I get that. Well, they have to do that anyway if we're going to have a playoff game here. So that had to be done anyway. But
was already that's money that's already expended.
Okay,
that was the $70 million.
So
this is $700 million
a facade
beyond the winterization.
So now you've been in the stands. I don't go into the stands. It is rather hard to get in and out of. Correct. I guess you do more. You're more the press box than anything else. But I have heard complaints that getting in and out is a absolute nightmare sometimes. On game
in and
days.
Out, like parking.
Not parking wise. In and out of the stadium.
Parking is a nightmare. I don't think parking is being addressed anywhere in the 700. And if I'm wrong about that, and somebody knows, pass it along. I'm not aware of the parking and the getting in and out being addressed with this $700 million expenditure. And if I'm wrong about that, I will fess up to it. But
I see pictures. I see like a lot of facade work. I see a lot of outside work. Are they enclosing most of it? They have to enclose. That's how they're going to winterize everything. I don't know. Have you seen some of the pictures of what they're looking at?
No, I haven't seen.
I don't know what the hell side of the stadium I'm even looking at when I'm looking at the thing. It's just one artist rendition or whatever the word is I'm looking for. Of course, I can't find it now, buddy.
Well, so again, that was approved this morning, and Penn State will move forward with it, and
I don't even know what side that even is.
Incur, that debt for the time being and for the foreseeable future.
There's a hotel in there.
So
we don't have any hotels in this town. I mean, geez. I mean, you are right. If this does not work for the football program, I mean, what are we thinking? This is the same thing as 2012. When we're sitting there waiting for those sanctions to come down, and if this doesn't work out, if this blows up in the face and they're not playing well, no one's going to go to games. I mean, are they putting you're talking about, more suites. Are you talking about, are there empty suites now? Or are you talking about, are they putting more suites in? Luxury boxes and stuff?
They're putting more suites in.
Are they really?
Luxury boxes, yeah.
Jeez.
Well, yeah, that's a driving...
Jeez, they're going to go with a corporate thing. It's going to be corporate America. I get it, but I thought the most of the renovation was going to be to the west side of the stadium, which is the visitors' sideline, the press box. And it's funny.
Correct.
I had people up 2 weeks ago, Jeff, and it was funny because we were sitting there laughing, and I drove by the soccer field, Jeffrey Field, and I said, "Look at that stadium right there," and my Carrie's nephew was like, "Oh my God, that thing is huge!" And I said, "See that press box right there?" I said, "In 1983, when I came to Penn State my first time in 1983, that was the biggest thing I've ever seen. I could not believe how big the press box was.
Yeah.
And it was just that big monstrosity, the big metal constructed steel, iron, all that stuff up there, that big thing up there. And now it looks like a trailer on top of a couple sticks compared to what the multiple additions they did with the lofts and the north and the south end zone. And then, you go on the other side of the stadium and you have the luxury suites. And it's like, holy crap, man. So if they renovate that to that, I mean, yes, it's going to be, again, I'm a happy guy because if it's going to, help the football program, which helps town, which helps other sports, I'm all for it. You know that. So are you. But it's a very, very sketchy thing. I mean, you got to win football games at a pretty alarming rate, in my opinion, and you got to get more people coming up here. Again, we've been talking about for since we started the show that like hotel prices are so out of whack right now. That's we're pricing our fans out, and then they say they're not going to raise ticket prices, and they're going to have to. They have to. I mean, if they're going to do this, they can. I mean, again, maybe I'll ask Pat to come on in the next few weeks to try to give me some information, or get one of his assistants on here and say, hey, this is what we're expecting. This is what, has to happen or we expect to happen. I mean, I would love to hear it because, again, I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, my issue with it is why didn't we just do $70 million a year 10 times? And why are we doing a $700 million renovation? What has been going on? And that was because of the sanctions and stuff like that. So we are still paying for that, in my opinion. The $60 million, that came back, right? Did that ever go away? Did it ever come back to Penn State, or did that just stay in state?
No,
it's gone, right?
The $60 million that Penn State had to pay that did not come back to Penn State.
Okay,
no.
and then all the stuff they paid out to the. I mean, we're still paying because we can't afford stuff right now because we're in debt from that. And then you were talking about selling bonds. I mean, I haven't heard of the bonds thing. I read it in the article, and I was like, we still sell bonds? Like, where do you get these things?
Yeah.
I mean, talk to me. I don't know what that even means. Like, you're going to buy bonds like it's a war?
You get it from the government through banks, financial.
But me and you can go buy them. Is that what they're saying?
Well, you can go buy bonds,
and then fund the $700 million with that. And again, I need a smarter person on here than myself to talk this through because on paper, we're getting the largest checks in the history of athletics department, but are we spending it faster than we're getting it right now? And the $700 million debt we just picked up, it's pretty damn substantial and scary.
Yeah, again, it's just we're just in very uncertain times, and I think this, at the very least, adds.
But if the government and the country wasn't so volatile, I mean, it's just running so at like a fine-tuned machine right now. It's not volatile at all in this world right now. I mean, geez. I mean, Carrie, we're talking like, how many companies did you see in the last 6 months, big companies that gone on there and filed bankruptcy? I look at Red Lobster the other day and all these different restaurants, and somebody was like, they can't afford the debt right now because the inflation and the prices of the interest rates are so freaking high they can't borrow money to stay afloat right now, so they have to go under. And I'm like, and we're adding up and signing up and building new hotels and a $700 million stadium renovation at this time. It's just scary to think about. You got me going, Ironhead.
I think it is, again.
There's the boogeyman in the closet now. I got to check it out.
Hopefully it all works out. That is, I think, what everybody is truly hoping for.
Maybe more than one wrestling match at Beaver Stadium next year.
Yeah, take a break here, and we are back with more of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here on Sports Radio 98.7. the fall.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Look, handsy busboy. Your wings suck! I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen Baker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.
We welcome back in on this Tuesday afternoon, and again, we've been talking a little bit about the Beaver Stadium renovation project. It was approved by the Penn State Board of Trustees, the borrowing of $700 million to finance that project earlier today. And again, at this point, now we just sit back and wait and see. I mean, it is going to play out as it's going to play out. They are really relying on the fans continuing to come out and support in a big way financially the football program. And I just, in an economy that is so, uncertain and fluctuating right now, that just seems to me to be a very real concern among many others. But we'll let that go for now. A couple of other things that I want to get into today. Nick Lee has been hired as the assistant coach for Penn State Wrestling. Cale Sanderson making the announcement first on the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club's Strong and Grateful podcast that some knucklehead hosts.
I heard that.
Yeah. So, listen, Nick is my opinion, and I'm admittedly a little biased here, but I think that is a home run of a hire. I think Nick is unquestionably all in when it comes to Penn State wrestling. But there's a lot of guys that have come through the program that are all in on Penn State Wrestling. That is one component. We talk a lot on when we talk wrestling about the gratitude component and the unselfishness of the wrestlers that Penn State brings in, and that is part of what maybe helps the Penn State program separate itself from others in the country. I would dare say that Nick Lee takes the unselfishness part to a whole new level, even at comparing it to other guys who truly are unselfish that come through the program. He is a guy that, while very focused, certainly throughout his competitive career on improving himself and making himself the best he could be, really from day one, when he came into that Penn State wrestling room, he was a guy who was also very determined to help his teammates in any way he could and to both learn from and teach them little things that he picked up or that they picked up. And it's always been, a good give and take in that Penn State wrestling room in terms of the exchange of information, showing different moves, trying different things. But Nick now has taken that game to a whole nother level with his competition and international action, and obviously was the runner-up to Zane Rutherford at the U.S. Olympic trials. And from a work ethic standpoint, from a wrestling knowledge standpoint, from a passion standpoint, and just, again, a willingness to help in any and every way he can. And we've talked about that a lot over the years, too, with this Penn State coaching staff. But I've just never seen a staff that is so focused and so dedicated on doing whatever they can to help their student athletes achieve whatever it is they want to achieve. And not everybody that comes into the Penn State program necessarily aspires to be a national champion. I mean, I guess they probably all aspire to it, but I think some recognize that they don't have the skill set to achieve that level. And so they also just work their tails off to become the best they can be, but to be great training partners for the rest of the team. And I just think, again, to me, Nick Lee was the perfect hire. I think has a lot of similarities to Jimmy Kennedy in terms of his willingness to learn and to teach and to accept whatever role he needs to within the program. And I'm very excited for Nick, and I'm very excited to see what he does in his role to help this program continue to grow in the coming years.
You can see that when he wrestled. I mean, he was that cool, quiet confidence and this and that, and you can see how he wrestled. There was no frills to his game.
Yeah,
I don't think he didn't do the Twitter, he didn't do social media, he didn't do any of that stuff. That wasn't like any of his thing. And I mean, having the little brothers, he's always been the older brother. The coaching thing, it just seems to be the perfect track for a guy like that. Like, it's like, again, I don't know much about him or much about wrestling for that matter, but I could tell that the way he talked about his younger brothers who were in the program type of thing and how they moved here when he was younger. I mean, you could just see where he was always a team guy, and coaching is, especially with this staff. I mean, these guys are unbelievable. They're unparalleled, in my opinion, as a coaching staff, and it's a great addition for him. Wonderful for him and wonderful for Penn State, for all of us. I mean, it's awesome. It's fantastic. So I did see that David got a big old commitment. A big old commitment. I got into this a little bit last week. So Hendrickson, the big heavyweight, had led the country in pins last year, I think I read.
Yep.
He has foregone his Air Force. He's just leaving the Air Force Academy.
I think it's a deferred thing.
So he still has to go pay his time and all?
At some point.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure.
That's the question I had last week of where that was going to be. Because he has a obligation as an officer in the Air Force. Now he transfers. Does he have to get? Is that time over? Because I think once after your sophomore year, and he's older than a sophomore at Air Force in the academies. Once you're
he just has 1 year of collegiate eligibility.
He's just going to defer this and then go do his Air Force stuff after this year.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting. There's a few other names that are out there still in the transfer portal that we'll see. I think could still end up at Oklahoma State. I had seen a couple of projections that had Hendrickson heading to Iowa. This is prior to David Taylor taking the position there. Now, there was never any official announcement about that, and I don't know for sure that how that all played out, but it's obviously a great pickup for Oklahoma State and for David Taylor, and I will be a little surprised if that's the last significant transfer portal pickup for Oklahoma State. It is interesting listening to some of the different discussion, and again, we're just going to see how it all plays out. Nobody knows for sure right now. I do think Oklahoma State makes a significant move up in the college wrestling world in very short order. Whether or not they are in a position to go win national titles and, challenge Cal, we'll wait and see. There's a couple of things that I just I think we will see what happens over the coming years. One is the time commitment that being a head coach of any college program, any college athletic program, it is significant. In a sport like wrestling, it is, I'm not sure people generally truly understand what a time commitment it is. Even in football, where the time commitment is certainly significant, there is truly downtime and an off season. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you there's no downtime for wrestling coaches. Obviously, if you watch the video last year of Cal and Cody on the fishing trip to Alaska, I mean, they do get away. But I am just telling you, it is really limited in wrestling, and especially when you have a year like this, where you have an Olympic year. Penn State's hosting the U.S. Olympic trials. In that podcast that I did with Cal, I asked him about just the time commitment, and especially in this year. And he said, this year, they're always busy. The off season is always kind of laughable because it's not an off season. You're doing camps, you're training the guys for the off season, quote unquote, off-season tournaments, the freestyle tournaments. You're constantly working with the kids to make sure they're developing in the right direction with the off-season plans, whether it's, weight training or making a move up or down in the weight class, if that's what the kid's trying to do, trying to help them with that process, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's just that is never ending. But then you add to it, again, hosting the Olympic trials, all that goes with that, all of the different Nittany Lion Wrestling Club members that were involved in that. Now you have 4 Nittany Lion Wrestling Club members going to Paris, which obviously is phenomenal, but also is an extra strain on the staff. Training. You're having to make sure you're getting those guys properly prepared. So it is significant. I have no doubt that David Taylor is going to make that investment in time and do what he needs to do to make it work at Oklahoma State. But I will say it is substantially different than what he was doing. Now, his time management is unquestioned because he was also training while working with the M2 kids and working camps and doing all of the things he was doing. So he's used to time management. Yes. Yeah. And that is a big component to this is now you have 3 young kids and it's just going to be a change. And I think Kendra, his wife, knows darn well that they've both been around wrestling. They've seen the commitment that it takes and that this staff makes up here. So I'm not suggesting that
he's
David
not going
Taylor,
in blind.
Right. Won't be able to do this. But I am saying it is really different when you are focused all of the time. And that is a slight exaggeration, but not much of one. All of the time on helping others achieve their goals and being there. And listen, we talk about wrestling, and again, I truly think David Taylor will be very successful at all of this. So this isn't a, boy, he doesn't know what he's getting into type of thing. But I'm just telling you, it is, there's a lot involved with being a head coach. David certainly knows the sport inside and out from a technical standpoint, from a relationship standpoint. He has great relationships with a bunch of coaches and wrestlers all across the country. That part is good. But now you're fundraising. Do I think David Taylor will be great at that? I do. I absolutely do. Again, he's a very personable guy, very sharp individual, knows how to relate to people and all of that. But that is now a key component. I don't know if people know how much time Cale spends on the road, meeting with donors, meeting with potential donors, kicking around different ideas for how they can raise money for the program this way or that way. Like it is a lot involved. That's on top of recruiting. That's on top of all of the training and all of the things that go into it. And then there's administrative stuff that, yes, you're going to have some administrative assistance. You're not going to have to fill out all the paperwork, but you need to be aware of all the paperwork that's being filled out. You're going to have to fill out some of it. There's just a whole lot involved above and beyond being, again, a personable guy or a really good coach, which, again, I think David Taylor is and will be. But it is a lot, and it can be a strain on the family. There's a lot of time. The wife is home with the kiddos, and it's just the wife and kiddos. A lot of time during the season, but a lot of time also during the off season. And so it is going to be an adjustment for sure. And it is one of those things where once you get into it, you either, this is what I want to do. I have the competitive drive. We're going to do this. Or you get a few years into it and it's like, all right, I don't want to be away from my kids for the length of time.
I'll tell you,
for the
my
events
personal
that they want
experience,
to be.
Jeffrey.
Yep.
I mean, I was a Division III coach, and I have friends. I got Fitzy and I got Johnny Butler. Dude, they're lifers. They are 24/7, 365. I can't. My personality is like I need to step away a little bit, like once a week. Give me a day, an afternoon, an evening. I need to just recharge. That's how
most people are wired that way.
I would think so.
I mean, it's why it does take something special in terms of that drive and the passion and the energy. And again, it's also a willingness and an understanding if you have a family, not just by you. Like you certainly understand, hey, there's going to be some big moments for my kids that I'm not going to be there, like physically, personally be there. Now, again, I can tell you from watching these guys, they are locked in on everything their kids are doing, and they are truly family men. But because of the commitment that they've made and the life they've chosen, like, again, they're not there for in person. Now they're calling immediately afterward. They're following as it happens. They're talking. Again, I don't mean that they're not engaged. They are, but it's different, and it can be tough. When I tell you you've got to have a passion for coaching at that level, it's not just you that has to have the passion. It has to be your family that is at least willing and all in on allowing you to do that and being able to facilitate all of the things that it takes to raise a family while a coach is on the road or away from home as much as they are.
When his oldest daughter says, "Why did you miss my recital, Daddy?" And you got to have an answer for that. You got to say, Daddy had to work, and then he had to do this and do that. I mean, he's learning from the best. I mean, Cale is as great a family man as you've ever met. I mean,
No
you've
doubt.
told me this. Everybody I've met who knows that man says that. He's an unbelievable man and an unbelievable person. So, I mean, David's learned from him. I mean, that's his guy. I mean, he's learned from watching him. So, you know, and then you went back and said it earlier, like there's a guy who knows time management. I mean, the wrestlers, they're a different breed, man. They're a whole different breed than other athletes when it comes to that, because they know how their body works and maintain this and that, and they're scheduling and doing this and that. They're more into it than I would say football players, especially in my era. Maybe it's a little different nowadays. I don't know. But, I mean, wrestlers are a whole different it's a whole different world right there when it comes to, like, you know, mental toughness and preparedness and biding you slotting your time, all of that stuff. Whereas football, it's like everything is so monitored. Like you said, like Kale this time last year probably had some time off. With the Olympics this year, he's got no time off probably because he's got to be training these guys because he has 4 or 5 in the 6 in the Olympics right now that he's training and
4 of the 6 in freestyle or yes.
But aren't they,
wrestling club members?
Don't they like 2 and 3 go each
yeah,
week
some
go?
of the training partners, yes, for sure,
are Penn State
going from
wrestling club guys, right?
And
so
although
another question, real quick, why are they not in Colorado Springs? I mean, why are they just going to stay here?
No, there will be. I don't know what the exact schedule is, but they will be out in Colorado Springs.
And
for
does
some
Kale
of it.
do that
There
as their coach?
I don't think Kale does, but they will have, and he may go out. But I think more likely Casey and or Cody, and maybe now Nick Lee. Well, almost certainly Nick Lee would be out for some of it. But like the USA Wrestling has a coaching staff out there, and so.
Who is that?
Penn State will likely take somebody. Well, Zadok is still involved. Bill Zadok. And yeah, they'll bring in different people for different parts of the cycle. And for sure, Penn State coaches, maybe for all of the cycles out there, but it's set up ahead of time that, hey, we want you here. In part, just they want to go over there as a team.
Mm-hmm.
So now these guys obviously know each other a little bit anyway, but you want to create that team bond and go over some things that so that you as Team USA Wrestling, you make sure your guys understand any rule changes, anything, and going over all of the logistics of going to the Olympic Games. It is a process. I mean, I'm sure it is for all sports, but like for wrestling, I know one of the things they do is make sure they have the dietary needs of the wrestlers taken care of before they go over. Like it's not, you're not going over and, hey, I wonder if we can find a restaurant that has, this or that. Like it is set up ahead of time, and most of it is provided by USA Wrestling. So they've got, I mean, the logistics of getting the stuff over there. So part of this is going to be, hey, what does each guy, what do you want after weigh-ins? What do you want? What works for you? They'll take their own water because you need to make sure the water is good. Again, all of that stuff. So they're going to go over all of that when they go over what to expect in terms of the training facilities that they'll provide, food, water, any other beverages or anything that they need going into the Olympic training. So all of that stuff, again, is part of what will be done when they're training out in Colorado Springs.
A couple of people about this. I got 2 different answers.
Yeah.
Is there a team aspect to the 6 wrestling weights? Is there a world Olympic champion team?
So at the World Championships, they do keep a team score.
Okay.
I think they do officially have team scoring. If they don't, it is capped and everybody knows what it is anyway. I believe there is team scoring. Now, in terms of medals, I will have to double check on that. I don't think that they give, like, I don't think if the U.S. scores the most points, that then everybody gets a team gold. But I'm not positive on that. I'll double check that, but I don't think that's the case. So I think you are competing only for individual medals, but there are team standings, and you'd be first, second, or third.
Yeah, another weird thing about wrestling,
ideally.
right there.
So, but I don't think that's unique to wrestling. Like, I think there's a lot of sports where they're keeping tabs on that, and it's like, all right, this country has the most medals, this country has the most gold, but you're not handing out team, like track and field or swimming medals. And I'm about 99% sure that that's the case in wrestling. There's no team medals handed out. We're going to take a break here again. If you're just tuning in, you're like, hey, why are these guys already on the air? We started at 2 today, going 2 to 4. We moved back an hour because we do have live coverage coming up of high school softball, Bald Eagle area, on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox in Center County, State College area. We'll have Bald Eagle area today in quarterfinal action, taking on Northern Cambria in the District 6 playoffs, and that game gets underway at 4. We'll actually probably wrap up about 3:55 here with our program and join Todd and Norm Brown at Wingate here just shortly before 4 o'clock, and that game gets underway here this afternoon. We will have high school baseball, weather permitting. I'm seeing that there's some potential thunderstorms in the area anyway tomorrow, but planning to bring you Bald Eagle area Mount Union baseball in the District 6 playoffs tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And then at 4:30 on Thursday, we'll have the District 6 championship game between State College and Mifflin County from Mount Aloysius College. On Thursday's show, we're just going to go ahead and start at 3. We're just going to abbreviate our show by about a half hour. So we'll go from 3 to 4:30 on Thursday with that edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. So just to keep you apprised of all of that and what is coming up this week regarding our coverage both of this show and of the high school baseball and softball playoff action. All right, we are going to take a break here. You are listening to WFXS, Pleasant Gap State College, and we appreciate your doing so. We are coming right back with more of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show right here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Look, hands it, busboy. Your wings suck! I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen Baker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.
And we welcome you back into the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here on this beautiful summery afternoon in the Valley of Happiness on a Tuesday.
Been out back the last couple days here. Been fantastic. Beautiful weather the last few days.
Yes, indeed.
All right, I got to ask you.
Yeah.
Do you let Skeens go out?
Do I let him go out?
Yeah. He has a no-hitter through 600 pitches exactly. I know he's on a strict pitch count. I get it.
Yeah.
He's got a no-hitter, though.
Yeah, I know. There's been a lot of just discussion on this. So I am okay with the decision not to have him go back out. I think there's a few things in play, at least in my mind. And I understand some of the arguments against it. I do think and it's changed. I mean, I get, the old school folks are like, well, this and that. I'm telling you, back in the 70s and 80s, guys weren't throwing 103 miles an hour. Okay. So what they're doing with their arms is not natural.
No.
Like that is not the way
pitch.
The human arm. Right. And we have just seen so many of these pitchers, right?
Yep.
So there's a couple of things here. You can protect them as much as you want. And again, the arm is not meant to do what it is doing. So even quote unquote protecting them, like that arm, as you said, any pitch, it's like, well, that could be it. Obviously, you're hoping that's not. I think they're smart. In the early stages here of his professional career, I think part of it is I get he's used to pitching.
Yeah.
It's just different. You're rearing back a little more. I have to believe. I think not that he wasn't giving maximum effort at LSU, not that he wasn't giving maximum effort throughout his minor league career, brief though it may have been. It's different when you get to the majors, right? Like you are putting even still a different torque on that arm. And I think there is something to be said for let's build up the endurance a little bit, number one. Let's protect the arm, number two. Let's not wear them out quickly. Now, if we get to September, and let's just pretend for a moment, allow our imaginations to take us to a place where the Pirates are in contention for postseason play.
I don't know what the hell you're smoking.
6 innings, and he has a no-hitter going, okay, now it's a different discussion. Now, I think you at least more seriously, hey, we need to try to take advantage of where we're at and capitalize on the opportunity. Now, I don't think it's still automatic, but I think I'm more likely to say, okay, now at this point, if we've seen him over the course of the summer hold up consistently with 100 pitches and 5 innings. And I don't know what the plan is long term. I mean, presumably as you get later in the season, again, if everything is progressing the way you're hoping, the numbers are still good, everything's looking good, you're going to allow a few more pitches, another inning here or there anyway. So again, I'm speaking just for myself.
Yeah.
I've read all the opinion pieces. I understand all of the different thoughts. I also don't believe Paul Skeens is going to be a Pirate long term. Almost guaranteed, if he has the success that everybody is envisioning, that he won't be a Pirate long term.
That's so bad that you have that thought in your head. I mean, I guess.
Well, but that's part of the argument. Yeah,
Man.
I mean, like some of the columnists are like, listen, you only have him. Like, you need to take advantage of. Like, your job isn't to take care of him long term or to take care of, him for another team long term. And even with that, there's a couple of things. If you actually, and I just don't think any team would do this. I mean, I do think you're investing in him, and while your team is certainly your priority and the focus, I do think the guys that are in your organization are a very close second, right? Like I get that you're putting the team first, but not to the point where, because very quickly, I mean, if like they just went out and said, hey, we know we only have him for a few years here, we're just going to, well, first of all, got other upcoming players are going to say, nope, I refuse to play for this organization. I will hold out. My agent will. Like, that's just not a realistic thing. Now, is there a happy medium there in between where, okay, but if you have a no-hitter going, we'll send you out for one more inning. We're not looking. Again, there's some debatable.
But then if he gets through 7,
there.
then you're like, well, why don't you give him 8? Why don't you give him 9? So
well, and then yes, and again, for a May game when you're 5.5 games out and 4 games or whatever it is, 3 or 4 games under 500. Again, you can still argue. I get it either way. I'm okay with being pretty hardcore in, hey, this is our pitch count. We're trying to protect him. I think you're protecting him. Yes, probably long-term too, but more so I think for your organization for the rest of this season, for the next couple of years. And that to me makes a ton of sense. I am
before we
okay
got together doing
myself.
the show, you had Garrett Cole there.
Yep.
Was there this much hubbub about him?
There was a good bit. Now, he didn't quite have in Pittsburgh the run that he ended up having. I mean, that was part of the he was good.
Knew that he was going to be legit, though, right?
Well, you thought.
I
Yeah,
thought.
You thought. Skeens is coming out of now I get we're 2 starts in, but I mean, he's coming out of the gates a little,
it's like
a little stronger.
Like a rookie quarterback. They're going to learn how to hit him.
Yeah. And we'll see. I also think
impressive though. I will say that, Jeff.
Well, and he is a pretty savvy, like I think he's going to make the adjustments pretty quickly as well to what the hitters adjust. He's, I mean, this is a guy that really has, and not that a bunch of these other guys haven't, but one, he is obviously very, very talented. But from everything you've read and heard, like this is a guy that really does put in the time and work to perfect his craft. He has an understanding. Like this isn't a guy that, I'm having success, I know it's just going to continue, right? Like he knows there's how this works, and he's studied it. And now that doesn't mean he's not going to go through a rough patch here or there, or some guys are going to not hit him well. But I think he is really exceptionally well prepared. The combination of his talent and his ability to learn, adjust, continue to work. Very coachable guy, again, from everything everybody has said at every level. I just think there's never a guarantee, but I think he's about as close to a sure thing in terms of being long-term successful in the major leagues as you can have. Now, obviously, injuries can always play a role and can derail
we've seen
anything.
it
But
before. With
short of that, it is hard to imagine how he won't be a long-term, big-time success story at the major league level.
He's not a power pitcher, but he's a power pitcher because he can locate. I mean, I'm watching that game Friday. He keeps the ball low.
He does.
It's really unbelievable. I mean,
and he mixes up his pitches just enough that it really does keep guys off balance. And again, it'll be fun to see. But yes, to answer the original question, I am okay with what they're doing with him.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see that again, huh?
No, but it's a different. Go ahead.
Oh, sure. Sunday, 45 years ago, Nolan Ryan threw 235 pitches and struck out 19 batters over 13 innings.
Yeah.
You're never going to see that again. That was what's considered the dead ball era type of thing. He's 6 foot up on the mound, right? Wasn't he like up? Mound was elevated and stuff like that.
Yeah, and he just had a unique.
He was special.
Yes, I mean,
yeah, that's Nolan Ryan. Yeah, that's Michael Jordan of pitchers.
I would say. Never say never. I mean, I'm not saying that it's impossible that you'll ever see that because, again, maybe you get a guy, and maybe Skeens is that guy 10 years into his career, and there's been no injuries, and the arm is still. I mean, it's possible, I guess. And then it's like, well, okay, if that's the case, he has whatever the motion is down that it's not taking a toll. Then maybe you go ahead and you start. But again, I don't know that we're ever going to see that again. It feels very, extremely unlikely. But
amazing. And I saw another stat today that Jamie Moyer, his first game in Major League Baseball, he pitched against his hometown team, which was the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah.
He started against a game against Steve Carlton, and he struck out Mike Schmidt in that game. And retired 20-some years later from Major League Baseball in Mike Trout and Bryce Harper's rookie year.
Yeah.
You ready for this
Some
one?
of those.
You ready for this one? He pitched in 50 stadiums, and he pitched in 9% of the history of players that played Major League Baseball. That's just crazy. And I'm not going there with Skeens at all because he's a whole. I mean, he was a junk pitcher. He never really taxed his arm as much as Skeen would do with him being a power pitcher. But all in all, I'm just saying that I like Skeens. I'm very impressed by him. You know what I'm most impressed about is he didn't B and C about not getting on the opening day roster.
Yeah,
they put him down for a couple starts out in Indianapolis. Right? They had him out there for a few games and this and that, and then they called him up a month and a half into the season and said, let's go from here. And he didn't complain. He didn't cry. He didn't complain. How many guys do you know in tops of their games would not complain about that? And I got to respect that. And I like how the Pittsburgh the Pirates are handling him. I'm a fan. I would have loved to see him going out there and throw a no-hitter. I also like seeing Kerry Wood throw for 20 strikeouts that one night, but guess what happened a couple years later to Kerry Wood? His arm's hanging off his, he has an elbow or a shoulder left. Strasburg, same way. They're all power pitchers, so you got to really maintain them and make sure they're okay. So I think that what they're doing is the right thing. But it's that bad in Pittsburgh that you're convinced that he's not going to be there in 5-10 years. That's because they're going to get rid of him. That's just their MO.
Well, not that they're going to get rid of him. It's the Pirates won't be able to afford him.
They can't afford him.
Yeah. I mean, the Yankees and Dodgers and Angels will come calling. And yes, probably before we get to that point, the Pirates seeing that, knowing that they're not going to be able
for
to
some
compete.
Valuable young guys.
Correct. And you're going to be able to restock. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of small market baseball.
Is this because they're a small market, or because they're not getting the fans in there that they can't afford them, or just don't want to?
No, it's just a small market. I mean, yes, they could probably. That ownership group is not committed to winning at the highest levels. They want to win enough to get fans excited and get folks in the gate, but they're not looking to win World Series. My opinion, backed up by years of
Post-game fireworks and concerts.
Pretty clear,
They relied
clear-cut evidence. But also, yes, I mean, there's a reason none of those, I mean, Kansas, like none of those organizations are signing the big-time free agent prospects because the Dodgers and the Yankees, like they can't compete, and very few players are going to be willing to. There's a hometown discount, but not when you're looking at. If it's a difference between like 180 and 160 million, maybe. If it's the difference between 200 million and 80 million, yeah, you're not. You're not taking.
Have we not learned our lesson?
Discount.
You don't want to be signing pitchers to 10-year deals.
Well, and that's correct. And so, but short term, those teams can again.
You can stay in Pennsylvania and
30,
keep
35
paying the
million.
Pennsylvania tax back and come pitch for the Phillies.
So yeah,
they got the wallet right now. They don't seem too afraid to pay, and they're actually building up their farm teams there in a few years. So Phillies are going to make a run, buddy. 20 above 500 right now. So right now, if they play 500 ball, like I told you, if they play 500 ball from here on out, they're 101 games.
Well, it's been unbelievable. And they have the Rangers tonight. The Pirates open up a 6-game homestand against the Giants, first of 3 against San Francisco this evening. But yeah, what Philadelphia is
they're doing it every
right
way.
now.
They're doing it with pitching, timely hitting, and they're smoking teams and they're winning close games. They're doing it all.
Yeah.
It's like that fun. I mean, I know that they really haven't had the opponents that they're playing aren't exactly, the 27 Yankees over here. But you got to win those games. Sorry, you got to sweep the Nats. You got to sweep the Marlins, the White Sox, Colorado.
Yeah.
And then they lose 2 out of 3 to the Angels. What's going on there?
Well,
I think that they fixed them. They fixed that a little bit. So, yeah, the Rangers tonight. 3 games. We'll see. I like them. Funny. Have you watched them at all?
Not much. Okay. No, I really haven't.
So Ranger Suarez pitches tonight.
I've seen the highlight. I mean,
Ranger Suarez is 8-0 right now, I believe. He's got around a round of 1 ERA type of thing, and he pitches against the Texas Rangers tonight. First time in history, a pitcher named Ranger plays against the Rangers. Rather interesting, Jeffrey Byers.
Yeah,
rather interesting.
Speaking of interesting, did you see the odds to make the NFL playoffs?
I have not yet.
And the teams, so not surprisingly, the Chiefs have the best odds to make the playoffs. This is obviously in the upcoming season. 49ers have the second best odds. And then it's the Ravens in at number 3. Ooh. This is the one that...
And the Ravens have a top 5 hard schedule.
They have a very difficult schedule.
But as you said last week, it's not winning percentage, it's when and what time you're playing these teams.
Yeah.
They're playing the same team as Steelers, but the Steelers have a gauntlet that I don't know if the Ravens do.
Yes. Very true.
Yep. Third best.
Yeah, trying to find the team with the longest odds is which I just love. It's not the Carolina Panthers, which is what I would have thought. It is the New England. Oh, I'm sorry. It is the New England Patriots.
I would say the Browns, but I don't think they're that bad. But I was going to go with the Patriots because you're not happy with them. You know, like them.
Yes. Patriots have the worst odds of making the playoffs. A few other just interesting notes. So the Atlanta Falcons, I'm trying to find where think this is, I'm just trying to find who is making these odds. I think this is an aggregate. Yeah, it is. So this is an aggregate of the betting lines. Okay, at the start of the at this stage of the preseason. So right now, the Atlanta Falcons have the fourth best chance, according to the odds makers, of, again, this isn't to get to the Super Bowl. This is to get to the playoffs.
Atlanta Falcons,
yes,
fourth best.
Here is, so number 5 is the Detroit Lions. Then it's the Eagles at number 6, Cowboys at number 7, Bengals at 8, Bills at 9, Packers 10, Texans have the 11th best betting odds, Dolphins 12, Bears 13, and Jets 14. Again, these are betting odds at this
So
stage.
they have, I guess only 8 teams make it. So, but if you're thinking of those, I mean, they have the Jets, they have the Dolphins, and the Bills.
Yes.
In the top 15.
In the top 14. Yep. Among the teams further down. So the Steelers are way down. Let me see.
Wow.
They're 21. 21st.
I know we talked about it last week, but that
right behind the Browns, who are number 20. And behind the Colts and Buccaneers, who are 18, and Buccaneers are 18 and Colts 19, respectively. I don't know. It's just interesting to look at that stuff. Don't know that it really matters much at this particular stage. We'll see as we get closer to the season how those odds may move one way or the other. Bottom 6 are the Raiders, the Giants, the Titans, the Broncos, the Panthers, and the Patriots. Those are the 6 teams with the longest odds to get into the playoffs again in the upcoming season. So
that's some interesting stuff, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and again,
the Falcons one is blowing my mind.
Well, so
who
part of it is the division, right? The division you're in.
Panthers,
yes,
both down.
Panthers are substantially down, and the Saints are don't have high rebuilding mode. We'll call it right now for New Orleans. So I think that is part of it.
Coach,
and it's betting odds. So
now Atlanta has
how it all
some
plays
serious talent. They have been stockpiling a lot of high first rounders the last few years.
So they're a talented young team. It's a division that is
down, a new coach,
not the AFC North or the NFC East for sure. And yeah, I think there's obviously a lot of excitement, which may bring some additional betting dollars their way. But yeah, it's interesting. And again, these are odds to make the playoffs, not to reach the Super Bowl. So nobody's saying Atlanta, like these aren't power rankings where the Falcons are being ranked as the 4th best organization. It's just they have the 4th best odds right now to make the playoffs in the upcoming season, or so say the bookmakers.
Who is the Falcons head coach? Now, I'm going to do this because I laughed a couple weeks ago saying I don't think I can name 5 NBA coaches, and I probably couldn't name 3, to be honest with you. But I'm trying to think in my head who the Falcons signed to be the head coach. You don't know, right?
I'm looking it up.
Are you looking up? You're cheating, Byers.
You have to. Oh, Raheem Morris.
Oh, got you. I like him. I like him a lot.
That's right. That was. Yeah, chose him over Bill Belichick, which actually I think for their organization and where they're at, what they're trying to do, I think makes a lot of sense. But that's also just interesting. talking about arguably the greatest coach in the history of the NFL, saying, we're good. We're going to go with Raheem Morrison again. I think it was the right decision.
It was.
I'm not questioning.
Boy, by the way, Belichick took a beating at that Tom Brady roast about that. Anybody hear that phone call ring? Because Bill Belichick didn't hear it this year, and it was like, wow. Wow. Some of this, he took some blows that night, man.
All right, we will take a break here. We are
buddy.
back with a final segment here on this Tuesday afternoon. Again, we do have high school softball coming up, Bald Eagle area, Northern Cambria at 4 o'clock. We'll wrap things up here at about 3:55 to give Todd and Norm a chance to get right into it. Those games have been starting a little earlier than the scheduled start times as well, so we'll give them that opportunity again here after our final segment, which is coming right up on the everybody's favorite radio station, Sports Radio 98.7 The Fall.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Your hands, busboy. Your wings suck. I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen O'Habaker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen O'Habaker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen O'Habaker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.
And we welcome you back in here to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show on, again, this Tuesday afternoon. We do have high school softball coming up here at 4 o'clock this afternoon with Todd and Norm Brown at Wingate, Bald Eagle area, taking on Northern Cambria.
Good job, guys, doing this.
In quarterfinal
the local sports
action.
is very good picking that stuff up, boys.
Well, let me bring up, it is, I guess, a local sports issue, but it is, I think, a bigger picture and kind of societal issue as well. And that is and I think you and I are pretty much aligned in our thoughts on youth sports how they should be handled, what the kiddos and the parents should be doing. There remains a dearth of umpires and officials for high school sports, and we're seeing it actually even at the collegiate level, but high school sports and youth sports. One of the things that I've enjoyed watching this year, again, my kiddo is in his first year of kids pitch Little League baseball. And one of the things that State College Little League is doing, and maybe they've been doing this a long, long time, I don't know, forgive my ignorance. I have not had a kid playing, and so I haven't been to Little League games, kids pitch Little League games in a long time. But they have high school kids, and in some cases, middle school kids,
Umpiring?
Oh,
Lord.
Which I love. So these kids are...
But also hate.
They're
right?
getting it. No, I love it because they're getting experience and learning the craft and hopefully understanding how important it is and can, hopefully at least some of them will, hey, yeah, you get the bug, you start learning the rules, you understand it. And as they move into adulthood, it's like, yeah, I want to become a PIAA official, maybe eventually an NCAA official in some of these sports. So I think it is a fantastic way to do it. And again, it is a learning process. Everybody understands that, at least in the games we've been in. I'm not aware, hopefully, nobody's, listen, there are certainly calls where you're like, your eyebrows raised. And guess what? There's calls that were made at the major league level. Like, let's say, Saturday, maybe the Pirates-Cubs game, if you were watching, where your eyes raised. It's like, what are they looking at? You want those kids to get the experience, and it's Little League baseball. Do you want the calls right? Of course. Does it matter at the end of the day if there is a missed straight call, a missed out call? No. It is 8 and 9-year-olds, 10, 11-year-olds. They are playing baseball. Nobody, anywhere, next year even, next week even, let alone years from now, that, boy, I remember that bad call. No, you don't care. It is Little League baseball. That being said,
are the coaches attacking these kids?
Nope.
Okay. You're trying to get me mad over here?
No, I did talk to, and we're going to talk about this on our morning show tomorrow. I didn't tell him I was going to talk about it today, but I've just been thinking about it. So we've had, at least in our games that I've been at, like there has not been. Now there will occasionally be questions, but they're legitimately questions. The coaches are, wait, did you see that in this way? And it's like, okay, if that's what you saw, that's fine. Like, but they're getting clarification on, hey, why did you call that the way you did? Just want to make sure we're understanding. And listen, again, these kids, these are literally kids learning, and it's like, okay, yep. And sometimes they got it wrong. That's fine. Like, at least again in the games we've been at, it's. Nope. If that's what you saw, that's what you felt, that's the right call. You need to make it. Just, again, it's a learning process, and everybody, at least again, in the games we've been involved in, fine with it. I'm just going to make a plea in general. And again, this is not based on the Little League experience we've had, because it has been nothing but positive. And I've not even heard parents, I really haven't, at any of our games, on our side or the other side, where parents are either yelling at officials or even the players. It's like, player makes a mistake, it's like, hey, Johnny, next time, throw it to first, but good job, way to get over there. it's positive, which it should be at that level. My plea, and then I'll get to the story that I have that prompted the reason for the discussion. But my plea is, if you are a parent, and I'm not saying it's always easy. I'm not saying I haven't gotten to that point yet, so I'm not sitting here telling you that I'm never going to stray from this. But I would really, really strongly encourage you to be a parent. Let the coaches coach.
Mm-hmm.
Let the officials officiate. Let the teammates be teammates. Not saying you should never, if you're wondering why a coach is doing something, I think it is fair. Coach, I just want to know. I've never seen this done this way, or why is this being done? Listen to the coach's explanation and then be done with it. My suggestion, my wish.
Yeah.
Again, we see at the major league level, there are coaching decisions that it's like, what in the world was that? There are officiating decisions just about every game where it's like, what was that? How did you? So understand, these guys are doing their best. This is high school or youth level sports that I'm talking about. Cut everybody a little slack. Coaches aren't going to be perfect. You're not perfect as a parent. I'm not perfect as a parent. Your kids aren't perfect as kids and players. Cut everybody some slack. Just do your best to parent your kid. Be there if they're down. Hey, you got this. Pick them up. If they're getting a little too high, hey, there's other kids out there that are even better than what you're realizing. Just keep focused, keep your nose to the grindstone type thing. That would be my recommendation. And again, if you're a parent coach, that's a whole different world. Do your best to be both a parent and a coach and try to separate the two. Can be a challenge for sure. I've talked to enough people that have done it. I know it's a challenge, but be a coach when you're out on the field, be a parent when you're off the field as much as you possibly can.
The parent coach with the rule book in his back pocket was always my favorite one.
Yeah.
Like, and you're yelling at like my grandfather who was called out of the crowd to be the second base umpire.
Yep.
He could barely see the home plate from second base, but they're going to ask him to make calls.
They needed somebody there.
I know,
and he's
that's
willing
fine.
to do
but
it.
What you said earlier about having young kids and stuff like that, these kids do it. It's great. It gives them a little taste and this and that. And I'm telling you, if it gets to the point where these coaches are going after them because they don't know the rules, rule book here says, I mean, come on, man, you're the problem. If you can't see that, then this is the issue.
Yeah. Now, when it's
and I love the fact that you said these kids are umpiring and refereeing.
It is so cool
because
to see.
it's really cool because they can still be involved.
Yep.
They're outside. They're not sitting playing computers at home, which is what Gen X and the millennials or Gen X and the boomers are complaining about them constantly.
Yep.
They're out there doing something, earning a couple dollars and learning something they might make a future out of and do it more often. I love that. I hope that people would not demoralize them.
No,
you're right. Coaches coach, players play. Teammates be teammates.
Now,
and have fun.
Here's and again, our experience with this. Now, I've heard horror stories with with different sports and different teams and all of that. I will say again, we have had in that regard nothing but a positive experience with our this season of first year of Kids Pitch Little League. It has been, everybody seems to be on the same page. We're there to encourage the kids, let the umpires, let these kids learn. Darn well they're not going to be perfect getting all the calls right, and that's cool. The kids are learning, the umpires are learning, everybody's on the same page, and it has been, again, at least from our standpoint, nothing but a positive experience. And That's the way it should be.
What if we have a whole generation of kids who've hated how parents treated umpires, and they're like, you know what, I'm going to fix this.
Well, so I talked to an individual, and I'm not even going to. It was in a league around here. This is pre-high school baseball league, and there is a. I don't even know. I think it was a parent. I actually didn't clarify that. I'm pretty sure it was a parent who was smoking a cigarette while next to the field watching the game. And we've not had this issue arise, to my knowledge, in any of our games. I've at least, and I'm pretty sensitive to cigarette smoke. The umpire said that it was just constantly wafting in. And he's like, I let it go for like an inning. And he's like, so he went over and it's like, could you please either just put out the cigarette for the duration of the game or move somewhere like pretty far away so that the kids, again, this is Little League, so that the kids and so the kids don't smell the cigarette smoke while they're playing. And the woman got belligerent. And it's like, no, I can do whatever I want. At which point, that umpire said, well, I'm going to throw you out of here then because I don't want this for these kids. And so he threw her out. And, of course, she was upset but complied because otherwise the game wasn't going to be able to continue. But she then waited outside of the playing. Apparently this was in a complex or at least some sort of a gated area. When the umpire, after the game was over, the umpire is coming through and she clocked him. And now there's charges being filed. There were multiple witnesses. Obviously that is way over the top. But again, we make an announcement at each of the state high games. I do some PA for baseball and softball, and actually got to do it for the girls lacrosse game last week and or last weekend. And one of the announcements that we always make is that on school district property, we ask you to refrain from using any tobacco products. Obviously, that would include cigarettes, cigars, that type of thing, but also even chewing tobacco and all of that. I don't know whether everybody complies, but at least with the smoking part, again, in the games I've been at, there has not been an issue. So twofold. One is if an umpire asks you, and I think, did I share the story at the one softball game this year? I don't remember if I shared it on this show or if it was on our morning show. But at the one softball game, there was a like an artificial duck sound, like one of those duck calls. And somebody was using it in the stands, and the umpire's like, stop the game for the timeout. Can I please ask whoever's using the duck call, please refrain from doing that the remainder of the game. the one I forget now if it was the girl at the plate or the catcher, but she turned it was somebody that was at home plate. She turned to the umpire. She's like, I'm so sorry. That was my grandpa. Now they stopped and complied. So two things. One, just don't smoke at a ball game. Okay, just don't.
What's her name?
Most of these games are an hour and a half to 2 hours. Just don't do it. Also, if the umpire at any of these events asks you to refrain from doing something, just refrain from doing it. And again, this was not an ongoing issue. Everybody kind of chuckled at the situation with the duck call. But you don't need to make any kind of grandiose statement, personal rights. We're trying to make this a pleasurable experience for the kiddos in particular, and yes, for the other spectators as well. But if an umpire, I don't care what level it is, if an umpire asks you to, hey, please stop doing whatever it is, you just stop doing it.
Do me a favor.
Or leave the game. If it's something you feel like,
was she in the stands? Was she just
it.
like hanging out by the dugout?
Apparently, my understanding is like kind of next to the field. So hanging out, watching the game. But again, even if you're in the stands,
there's no arena in this country you're allowed to smoke at. Why a little?
Not anymore.
No.
Boy, what a change!
Isn't it
from
crazy?
when we were growing up? When I went to Beaver Stadium, I mean, as a kiddo, that was like. And actually, I've always hated this. My mom smokes, still smokes.
Yep.
I don't like the smell of it.
Sure.
I do like the smell of cigars. And I love the smell of pipes. And very rarely do you get that smell anymore. But I always, there was a guy for a season or two when I was a kiddo. We would go, there was a family friend that would allow us to tag along. And there was a gentleman a row or two in front of us that would smoke a pipe throughout the game. And I'm like, I know it's weird. I hate the smell of cigarette smoke, but man, that smells good. It was like a cherry pipe, cherry tobacco in the pipe. And I'm like, I like the smell of that. But what I did, I mean, there were cigarettes, cigars, pipes going all throughout those games. And now, again, it is really noticeable if somebody, and I mean, it is immediately.
How about walking into a bar that still allows that? And you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. I mean, and it's less than 20 years ago that every bar allowed it, and it wasn't a thing for me. I remember me and my wife first started dating. She was bartending. She would come home after work, and I'd be like, I have to shower, and just the hair, her smell, her clothes, and just stunk like cigarettes, and it's just so funny to see it now. You go to a place that allows it, and you're like, oh, Jesus, this is unbelievable. And I grew up. My mom smoked. My father smoked until 1983. Listen to this. My dad smoked 4 packs of cigarettes a day. 80 smokes.
Yeah.
And then his first granddaughter was born on August 16th, 1983. That was his last cigarette. Just stop cold turkey like that. No, I'm not lying to you, dude. Wow. I mean, when we were going to bed, he'd already be in bed because he got up at 4 a.m. to go to work, but he would already be in bed. And the first thing he would do when he'd wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, he'd have 2 cigarettes while going pee. And then when we would go upstairs to say goodnight to him and my mom, there'd be an orange light. And I'm like laying on you. That's where my father was to go kiss him goodnight.
Yeah.
I mean, it was unbelievable how much he smoked. It was like literally lighting cigarettes off of cigarettes, and dinner time, breakfast time, anytime. It was 4 packs a day, 80 cigarettes a day. I mean, that is unbelievable. Think about the cost of that now. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't fathom. I mean, I couldn't fathom our milk bill either growing up and what that would be nowadays. But I mean, but it's just so funny that it's been less than 20 years. I mean, it was allowed everywhere in everything.
Oh yeah.
And it's just cold turkey. And now you see it allowed somewhere and it's like, oh my God, we can't be here. This is horrible. We got to get out of here. Last night I smoked a cigar on my back porch. I had my friend Brian over. We smoked a real nice cigar and he came upstairs and Carrie's like, go on, get in the shower. Let's go. You're washing up. You're not going to bed like that. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, I'm not smelling that all night. It's disgusting. I was like, I don't smell it. But I smell my hand where the cigar was. And I was like, oh my goodness. So yeah, it is what it is. But it's just funny. That was 20 freaking years ago. And how much it has just changed. And, but the lady took a swing at an ump. Huh.
Yeah.
Are these kids getting paid that are being umpires?
Well, yes, but now I don't know. At the little league level, that is a good question. I will ask. I think they are getting.
I love the idea. It's a great idea.
I think they are getting. I mean, it is a. If they are getting paid, it's a very small amount. But I think they are getting. It might be like $20 or $25 or something to. But again, it's good experience to get training, and
not everybody's cut out to play. I mean, some people don't want to. I have friends who would rather umpire and referee games than they would be to do anything else.
Yeah,
keeps you in the game.
What you want to do is allow that interest to be fostered and not ruined because of.
Don't hinder it. Endorse it.
Parents who are over the top. And again, we've not had, that I'm aware of, we've not had any negative experiences. And I say every now and then, and it's legitimately, hey, what did you see there? And again, part of it is you're genuinely trying to help these kids learn to umpire. It's not so much that, hey, we had a call against us. I mean, we had our coach actually he's like, I just want to make sure, what did you see? And it was a call that went in our team's favor. It's like, but I don't think that should have been, but what did you see and why did you make that call? The kid said, and again, I think they got it wrong, but it's like, okay, I just wanted to make sure that's what you thought you saw. We're good with that.
Are they behind the plate or are they predominantly out in the field?
So the way it has worked at all of our games is you have a home plate umpire and then a kid in the field. Now we had, I think it was the first game that at least I've been at last night. We just had the home plate umpire. So we kind of had the base coaches were just helping out a little bit. Although really the home plate umpire last night was very good. And I think he made all of the, I'm trying to think if there was ever a call where it's like, I'm not sure. What did you guys say? I think he made all of the calls. I think he got them at least the overwhelming majority right. There weren't a ton of like real close bang bang type of plays.
I don't know. They pulled my dad out of the crowd one time, and I was like, man, my dad's umping right now. And somebody tried to like.
My dad. My dad got again. It was a game where there were no umpires for, and this is when I was again a kid. Nobody showed up, and they're like, "Does anybody want to ump?" And my dad's like, "Well,
nobody.
I'll help you out."
Happened to my father.
And there was a parent of one of the kids on the team, and he's like, what are you talking about? My dad's so after the game, he's like, I will never ever do that again. He's like, I was just trying to help out. He goes, I don't know how to umpire. He goes, I'm trying to help you out. But there was a parent, and it was pretty much one. There were a couple of calls where a few parents were grousing, but it was one parent. It's like, come on, you can't make that call. It's like, I can because I'm just here volunteering.
You don't know what
you're
doing.
No training to be an umpire. I'm trying to help out so that we can do this game. And it's like, my God. When I think back to that,
through that.
Yeah, and again, you're talking about at this point, at like 8 and 9 year olds. Like this is about trying to help them learn the game, not about winning. The winning and losing is fine, and yes, you want the kids to have the experience. Really, I think you want them to have both of those experiences, so they get to learn how to deal with both of those experiences, how to handle both in a gracious and proper way. But again, it is 8 and 9 year olds. Like at the end of the day, 5 minutes after this game, regardless, I don't care if it's the worst call you've ever seen in your life. It's a little league baseball game. Move on.
I'm laughing in my head. You probably hear me laughing, and I'm just sitting there saying, no one really yelled at my father out there about making any kind of
I'll bet
call.
they did not.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
He's 6'6", 320.
Yeah. No, we're good. We're good over here.
Yeah, that was double play. Okay, yeah, we're good. We'll go on the field now.
All right. We are going to head to Wingate here in mere moments. Bald Eagle area softball in quarterfinal action in the District 6 playoffs. We head to Norm and Todd Brown for the call. Again, we'll be back on Thursday at 3. We'll have a bit of an abbreviated show on Thursday from 3 to 4:30 to accommodate more softball playoff action. But until Thursday, be good and be safe.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Look, hands it, busboy. Your wings suck! I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen Baker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon